Thank you for joining us on this live, original, Thursday, the 25th day of August 2016, worldwide broadcast. I'm your host, Alex Jones. We're going to be here for the next 4 hours today. Investigative journalist John Rappaport will be joining us to look at the ongoing emails that are coming out showing that the Clinton Foundation was indeed a pay-to-play money laundering operation so that the Secretary of State could sell out the United States to the highest bidder and, of course, the American worker. Most of it is deals to allow the export of our technology, our minerals, you name it, to multinationals. Truly incredible. We also have an amazing clip of Nigel Farage in Louisiana with Donald Trump yesterday. That before I even get into all the news, I want to play in whole right now because I think it's important to kick the show off with Nigel Farage, the man that founded UKIP 24 years ago and who has taken the info war to Europe and has gotten the British to successfully go with the BREXIT. So let's go ahead and go to that report. If you're a radio listener and want to actually see the video, it's on Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com in an article by Paul Joseph Watson. It's also obviously important to share this video. So we're going to be getting into that. We're also going to be looking at Assange, new Hillary info, could swing election if it catches fire. But first, Nigel Farage, the info warrior of Albion, being introduced by Donald J. Trump.
Well, thank you, and good evening, Mississippi. I come to you from the United Kingdom with a message of hope and a message of optimism. It's a message that says if the little people, if the real people, if the ordinary decent people are prepared to stand up and fight for what they believe in, we can overcome the big banks. We can overcome the multinationals. And we did it. We made June the 23rd our Independence Day when we smashed the establishment. And we did it. Everybody said we'd lose. And what did we see? We saw experts from all over the world. We saw the International Monetary Fund. We saw Moody's. We saw Standard & Poor's. We saw global leaders giving us Project Fear, telling us that if we voted not to be run by a bunch of unelected old men in Brussels, yeah, well, it's okay. They don't like me either, so it doesn't really matter, does it? But they told us our economy would fall off a cliff. They told us there'd be mass unemployment. They told us investment would leave our country. And David Cameron, then our Prime Minister, but no longer, told us we might even get World War III. And we saw the commentariat and we saw the polling industry doing everything they could to demoralize our campaign. On the day of the vote itself, that morning, they put us 10 points behind. And actually, they were all wrong. And they were wrong because what the Brexit campaign did is we reached those people who've been let down by modern global corporatism. We reached those people. We reach those people who have never voted in their lives, but believe by going out and voting for Brexit, they could take back control of their country, take back control of their borders, and get back their pride and self-respect. Now, the big card the Prime Minister decided to play in the referendum is he got a foreign visitor to come to London to talk to us. Yes, we were visited by one Barack Obama. And he talked down to us. He treated us as if we were nothing. one of the oldest functioning democracies in the world. And here he was telling us to vote Remain. So I, having criticized and condemned his behavior, I could not possibly tell you how you should vote in this election. But, you know, I get it, I'm hearing you. But I will say this, if I was an American citizen, I wouldn't vote for Hillary Clinton if you paid me. In fact, I wouldn't vote for Hillary Clinton if she paid me. Folks, the message is clear. The parallels are there. There are millions of ordinary Americans who've been let down, who've had a bad time, who feel the political class in Washington are detached from them, who feel so many of their representatives are politically correct parts of that liberal media elite. They feel people aren't standing up for them, and they've actually, in many cases, given up on the whole electoral process. And I think that you have a fantastic opportunity here with this campaign. You can go out. You can beat the pollsters. You can beat the commentators. You can beat Washington. And you'll do it by doing what we did for Brexit in Britain. We had our own people's army of ordinary citizens who went out and delivered leaflets, who went to meet people where they worked and where they socialized, who convinced and inspired people to go out, if this was the one and only time in their life, and to vote for change. So my advice to you, if you want change in this country, you better get your walking boots on. You better get out there campaigning. And remember, anything is possible if enough decent people are prepared to stand up against the establishment. Thank you very much indeed.
Wow. Thank you, Nigel. What a job.
Now, I raise this point so that you, the listeners, understand the real playing field we're on. The globalists operate in hoaxes and in fraud. But many times, if their hoax is successful and the public buys into the lie, it then becomes manifest reality. When we're submitting to their brainwashing, humans are basically able to build and create whatever we envision. We've proven that. And so they come out and they create the perception that Trump is a racist when he's not. They create the perception that Trump is 15 points behind in the polls when he's not. But then people start talking in the streets, even though they know the mainstream media is deceptive, even though they only trust the media 6% of the time when they're asked in scientific polls. But still, everyone starts parroting the talking point, and then it creates a reality. And so how do you reach out to people who are being conned, who are being basically pushed onto a bandwagon? You have to explain to them how this phenomenon works. First, they put out the fake polls. Then it will skew people somewhat historically towards that number, not all the way. A lot of people aren't weak-minded, but still enough to win the election. But the mainstream media is so discredited now, it's out of gas in many respects, and we are still, how many days is it to the election? 74 days till the November election. A referendum against the corrupt press, a referendum against the corrupt megabanks. But you're not going to hear Nigel Farage anywhere on international television or national television. They're just blacking it out. Just like they're blacking out the fact that our reporters 2+ miles getting there 3 hours before the rally started in North Austin, a supposed blue city, in a sea of red Texas. And we have the video, in fact, we have the B-roll we're going to roll, I guess now or later, that just shows our reporters having to walk in miles and miles of major highways. They picked the convention center, not downtown. That was smart. But one in North Austin surrounded by cow pastures. Back when I was in high school, it was all cow pastures. Now there's some car dealerships and a few factories and things out there. But had to walk 2 miles in the 95-degree heat. And then there were lines so long, overfilled into the convention center, that seats 20,000 people, that our reporters couldn't even get in, even though they had press passes. They just couldn't even get up there. And that was getting there, some reporters 2 hours, some reporters 3 hours before. You would think that'd be huge news with a news chopper over it showing it, but they didn't. This is emblematic of the deception.
Now we are introducing a new t-shirt, which I think folks need to get, telling the real truth about Bill Clinton, who is a serial rapist and a user of women.
In another case, it's about groping and fondling and touching against a woman's will. And rape. And rape.
Bill rapes them physically, and then Hillary rapes them psychologically.
He's a rapist.
Absolutely.
He's a public figure and go straight to hell.
Get your Bill Clinton rape shirt today at InfoWarsStore.com or call 1-800-253-3139.